So the other day, I was listening to music on YouTube, as you do, and I only realized at my age, which is old enough to know this, I only realized Staying Alive, the song by the Bee Gees, had real words, like the other day.
You thought everyone was just going...
Yeah, I swear I thought the words were Staying Alive, and then I thought the Bee Gees were going... I thought it was the 70s.
What?
Everyone was on drugs.
What?
I thought that was just a thing.
What? You can tell by the way I look?
Yeah, well, I knew those were kind of words too, but I guess I just thought it was mostly gibberish. I thought the song was coasting on the fact that they had really high voices and John Travolta was not weird yet.
La 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 la. Here we go.
It's the Bible reloaded, logic explosion, like Jesus and Moses, but it's Hugo and Jake. The Bible is jaded, and most of it taken, so get educated with Hugo and Jake. Pull up you and stop what you're doing, it's Bible reloaded time. They call it debated, the theist will hate it, like talking to taken, but it's Hugo and Jake. So I'm with the show then, it's not candy coated, it's the Bible reloaded with Hugo and Jake. With Hugo and Jake.
So hello everyone, I'm Hugo,
And I am Jake.
and this is the Bible Reloaded.
With more Bible. They're excited. I can see them. There's one guy, he should put his pants on. Put your pants on.
It's their house. They can do whatever they want. They don't have to wear pants while they're watching us. Honestly, if they have to wear pants while watching us, then we have to wear pants while recording it, and that's not a concession I'm willing to take. I'm not going to take that one for the team. No way.
I didn't know that was two-way street. You're right. Never mind. Keep your pants off.
So, thanks everyone for coming back. I always appreciate when you guys show up. That's good. I'm not doing this for my own benefit.
Now you expect it from us? There's a bar we set. It's a low bar, but the bar is there nonetheless.
Yeah. So, today what we're going to be talking about is Hezekiah, king of Judah. Hezekiah is an idiot. Imagine if Michael Scott from The Office was given a country in the Middle East in biblical times, and that's who Hezekiah is. Also,
except minus all the endearing aspects of Michael Scott.
yeah, so just dumb. So today we're going to go ahead and begin in 2 Kings chapter 18. In the 3rd year of Hoshea, son of Elah, king of Israel, Hezekiah, son of Ahaz, king of Judah, began to reign. He was 25 years old when he became king, and he reigned in Jerusalem 29 years. That's impressive.
I would be a garbage leader at 25.
I know you would. You're only a little bit older than that now, and I still think you'd be garbage.
Once I'm able to be president at 35, I think I'm good to go. Oh, I got some Ben Franklin in me.
Maybe. I'm a little iffy. You're barely competent at handling half a YouTube channel, so...
Right. No, I mean Ben Franklin, like, I'll fuck whores if you give them to me.
Oh, okay.
I might also, I'll invent trifocals.
Trifocals already exist, by the way.
Quadfocals, then.
Okay. But, like, you can have as many sexual...
Sign me up for
Okay.
quadfocals.
Okay, whatever. Hezekiah did what was right in the eyes of the Lord, just as his father David had done. I understand in the Bible when they're talking about father, they don't mean literally, but can we stop pretending that this guy has any sort of real ties to David other than it's like his great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-grandfather? No one gives a shit at this point.
I give a shit.
Why do you give a shit?
Because David was rad. David killed dudes, and he fucked bitches.
It's like people who go on
He got
Ancestry.com and are like, oh, look at my great-grandfather was a barber in the olden times. No one cares. You drive a Prius and hate your job. Kill yourself. He removed the high places, smashed the sacred stones, and cut down the Asherah poles. He broke into pieces the bronze snakes Moses had made, for up to that time the Israelites had been burning incense to it.
They were idolizing the bronze snakes, is what they were doing.
This is one of the reasons that Muslims actually don't allow iconography and stuff, because they're afraid that people are going to start worshipping the images of things rather than the actual things.
Actual is used a little bit loosely there, but yes, I understand what you're saying.
I also like the story because it kind of gives them an excuse to say, hey, where's that snake Moses made? You know, Moses, the guy who totally existed exactly like he was in the Old Testament. Shouldn't there be evidence? And then they can say, no, this king destroyed it for reasons.
Yeah.
Like, he didn't even
it's
confiscate it. He just fucking destroyed it. Wouldn't that be the kind of thing you'd put in, like, your Jewish king vault?
It seems like it was written to be like, where are those fucking things at? They're pretty important. They're like, I don't know. Hezekiah did a bunch of stuff a while ago. Maybe he took them? Why would he do that? What a weirdo. Well, the people were burning incense to him. There's no reason to make those smell good.
There's nothing worse than just hanging around burning incense to a snake and listening to My Morning Jacket. Go fuck yourself.
My Morning Jacket.
That's a band I'm aware of, apparently. It's weird. Don't know a single song by them. Know they exist. Anyway. Hezekiah trusted in the Lord, the God of Israel. There was no one like him amongst the kings of Judah, either before or after him. That's just blatantly false. You just compared him to David. Come on, I understand that you want to give him a lot of platitudes, but stop.
Maybe he had a strikingly symmetrical penis.
Maybe. That's probably what they're talking about. He held fast to the Lord and did not stop following him. He kept the commands the Lord had given Moses, and the Lord was with him. He was successful in whatever he undertook. He rebelled against the king of Assyria and did not serve him. From watchtower to fortified city, he defeated the Philistines as far as Gaza and its territory.
So he was just really good at stuff.
Yeah, he's like really great. He seems very competent on the surface level.
Born winner, like that high school quarterback you used to know, except he didn't become an alcoholic and move up north and take selfies from a tree stand and put them on Facebook. We don't care, Greg.
We're moving forward a little bit and then continuing in verse 13. In the 14th year of the king of Hezekiah's reign, Sennacherib, king of Assyria, attacked all the fortified cities of Judah and captured them. So Hezekiah, king of Judah, sent this message to the king of Assyria at Lachish. I have done wrong. Withdraw from me, and I will pay you whatever you demand of me. I've said that before, but it was
pussy.
a more...
What were you saying?
Never mind. It was just a... It was
Is it a whore joke?
It was a whore joke. Yeah.
Are you a whore?
I could be. Like, I'm not saying I'd be a successful whore, but I could get one crackhead to let me suck his dick. Wait, that crackheads
To
are usually...
let you suck his dick?
Crackheads are on the opposite of
Come
that
on,
transaction,
man, just let me suck your dick. I'll give you some crack. I don't think you have the whore thing all backwards.
I think I confused being a whore for hiring a crackhead to let me suck their dick. Whoops. That happens.
That's quite the blunder.
Yeah.
That's a dick-filled mouth type of blunder.
You know, more often than not, my blunders are of that type.
Get sent out for milk from the girlfriend, come home with a dick in your mouth.
Sometimes.
I get it.
And then she looks at me and goes, Hugo. She doesn't say Hugo. Did you get a dick in your mouth again? And I go, maybe.
I like that you're sort of bashful about it.
Yeah. You gotta be. I'm not a whore. I'm not gonna outright say, yeah, I got a dick in my mouth.
Yeah,
Anyway.
I like that she calls you Hugo in that fantasy and not your real name.
Yeah, well, whatever. The king of Assyria extracted from Hezekiah, king of Judah, 300 talents of silver and 30 talents of gold. So Hezekiah gave him all the silver that was found in the temple of the Lord and in the treasury of the royal palace. At this time, Hezekiah, king of Judah, stripped off the gold from which had covered the doors and the doorposts of the temple of the Lord and gave it to the king of Assyria. My fan theory, because I'm a huge fan of the Bible at this point, is that they used this story to explain why in old stories building the temple it was covered in ornate gold, but by the time this had rolled around, there was not gold anymore, and they're like, what happened to all that gold? I don't know, we gave it to a dude, but trust me, the gold was totally there. We were a super huge empire at some point. Trust us. We also used to have millions of soldiers. We only have like 100,000 now. Don't worry about it, okay? The gold was there, a guy talked to a bush. It's a whole thing. I wrote it down. So now we're going to skip a little bit, and by a little bit, I mean about half a page. So what happens there is that Hezekiah has angered Assyria because he's taken down the different Asherah poles and stuff and isn't allowing them to worship their gods in his territory. He's also not being subordinate to them because some previous kings had said to the king of Assyria, essentially, we'll do whatever you want. So the king of Assyria, being pissed off, ends up sending a letter to Hezekiah that basically says, your god's a bitch. And then Hezekiah, not super happy about it, and here's what happens there in 2 Kings, chapter 19, verse 14. Hezekiah received the letter from the messengers and read it. Then he went up to the temple of the Lord and spread it out before the Lord. I'd like to think God just really needs letters to be near them in order for him to read them. He's like, look at this shit, God, can you fucking believe this? God's like, can you bring it closer? I need some bifocals, maybe some trifocals, I don't know.
Quadfocals. I got you, big man.
And Hezekiah prayed to the Lord, Lord, the God of Israel, enthroned between the cherubim, you alone are God over all the kingdoms of the earth. You have made heaven and earth. I like at this point they're sort of backpedaling on the idea that there are more than one god. Because it's interesting, in the earlier chapters, there's definitely kind of the assumption that other gods do exist. Not necessarily all gods, but some of the gods other people believe in, probably real. For instance, they've talked about the Baals before. Here, it seems like you can sort of see the evolution of the theology to the point where they're starting to believe, no, our God is the only God that actually exists at all. And he is the God of everything, not just us. God's like the Comcast of deities. Like, that's pretty much your only option. Rubs his nipples as he's, like, sacrificing your children. Ooh, I wish you could go to another god, but I guess there aren't any. Ooh.
Year 2's gonna be double expensive. Ooh.
I think a lot more people would be atheists if God throttled their Wi-Fi, how Comcast does. Give ear, Lord, and hear. Open your eyes, Lord, and see. Listen to the words Sennacherib has sent to ridicule the living God. Is it true, Lord, that the Assyrian kings have laid waste to these nations and their lands? They have thrown their gods into the fire and destroyed them, for they were not gods, but only wood and stone, fashioned by human hands. Now, Lord our God, deliver us from his hand, so that all the kingdoms of the earth may know that you alone, Lord, are God.
What, I'm trying to figure out what the difference is between the god he's praying to and the gods that they claimed were real, because at least they had cool poles and were made of gold sometimes. This one just has, like, that one time a crazy guy walked on top of a volcano and talked to a bush that was on fire.
It's amazing to me that this person is so blind to the irony that he is sitting in front of a wooden, covered in gold box and talking about how they all have man-made idols. He even says, you're between the cherubim, and if you don't remember in the Ark of the Covenant, there's like cherubim statues on the thing, and he's saying, like, you reside in this magical box we built, because that's how gods work. Now please help us destroy these heathens with their magical boxes and poles. The Middle East hasn't changed a lot.
No.
They had a real good period where they got into math, and were like, let's just be really good at math for a while, make some advances in science, and then they were like, alright, let's go back to worshipping weird shit. And killing people for not worshipping the same weird shit.
They never stopped worshipping the weird shit. They just got a little crazy about it. That's all.
So then Hezekiah has this prayer, which we're not going to read. It's kind of like the songs that have done before, but it's a prayer. And then it ends with the Lord killing a lot of people. And that happens in verse 35. That night the angel of the Lord went out and put to death 185,000 in the Assyrian camp. When the people got up the next morning, there were all the dead bodies!
What a weird way to fucking write that.
Yeah.
Of course there were.
I like that he also apparently didn't kill all of them, because he definitely wanted witnesses. He wanted them to be like, oh shit, we're just in a sea of a camp of dead bodies.
This is akin to the horse head in Godfather where he puts it in the bed, except 185,000 of them. It sounds like what happened is they got like a plague.
Yeah, it sounds like a disease.
All
or
of them
something.
got sick and died pretty quickly. And they're like, but it's probably not 180,000.
No.
We all know that they kind of fuck with those numbers a little bit. So probably 80 people died or had bad diarrhea.
It sounds like a typical Tuesday for me. That's not bad. I
Bad
could beat the Israelites if all I got to withstand is diarrhea. I have been training for this my whole life. Every day is an ordeal for me. All the artificial sweeteners and Coke Zero and my shitty microwave meals. I haven't had a solid poop in 5 years.
Well, there's your poop joke.
I feel like we've made almost the same exact joke before. Do I have enough diarrhea that we've brought it up twice in the very same joke and it continues to be true? Do I have an issue that I need to look into? Probably. These are questions for my doctor and not thousands of people on the internet. One day, while Sennacherib was worshipping in the temple of his god Nisroch, his sons killed him with the sword and they escaped the land of Ararat, and his other son succeeded him as king. So, they tacked that on to the end of the story. I'm confused why, and I'm also confused as to his two sons' motive, because they didn't want to become king because they fled. So they just must have been like, hey, you want to kill Dad? Yeah, let's totally. And they stabbed him and ran away.
He won't let me play PlayStation. He keeps it in his room and he's got to wake up early.
For some reason, this plan, it makes me think it was a Sega Genesis. I don't know why, but murdering your
I
parents...
just want to play Sonic the Hedgehog 2.
Yeah, murdering your parents to get video games back seems like a very 90s thing to me. I don't know why. Maybe it's because of Sonic's cool attitude. Maybe when you look at him and you just kind of see him saying to you, "It's okay, kids, kill your parents so you can play me. Also, chili dogs." I don't know, that was a thing they gave me in the TV show.
That was a thing. Why did they eat chili dogs?
I don't know, that wasn't ever in the games, I don't think, at least not until after the show.
I think it's because Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles was, like, popular and they had a pizza thing and they're like, I don't know, chili dogs are easy to draw.
So today we're going to go ahead and finish with Hezekiah's illness. And as you can imagine, Hezekiah gets sick as fuck. This is in chapter 20, BT dubs. Can I say BT dubs? Am I too old for that yet?
No, we'll just put this on 4chan.
Okay. That's not how anything works. You don't know how 4chan works. I've been on 4chan. It's the fucking worst thing in the world. It's beautiful. I love it. Everyone's so dumb, but it's intentional. It's terrible. It's the worst place on the internet. It's great. In those days, Hezekiah became ill and was at the point of death. The prophet Isaiah, son of Amoz, went to him and said, "This is what the Lord says. Put your house in order because you are going to die. You will not recover."
No, that's not good bedside manner whatsoever.
Honestly, I appreciate God giving him warning because all the kids he gives cancer doesn't usually tell them whether or not they're going to make it. He's like, I'll let them go through chemo just so they can suffer a little bit. Then I'll kill them. Enjoy your last days, Tina. They're gonna be hell. And then you're also going to hell because your family happens to be Jewish. Hezekiah turned his face to the wall and prayed to the Lord. "Remember, Lord, how I have walked before you faithfully and with wholehearted devotion and have done what is good in your eyes?" And Hezekiah wept bitterly. Before Isaiah had left the middle court, the word of God came to him. "Go back and tell Hezekiah, the ruler of my people, this is what the Lord, the God, your father David says. I have heard your prayer and seen your tears. I will heal you."
So all you gotta do is weep and God will be like, all right, you don't have to die.
See, this is one of the problems I have with the idea of God's omniscience, because if he was omniscient, he would already know things were going to happen this way and would have not killed him in the first place. You know what I mean? A God who changes his mind inherently is a God who cannot be omniscient, because if you're omniscient, you already know all things simultaneously. You know every permutation of reality that could possibly exist, and you know the decision you want to make. You can't change your mind.
I think the issue with that is that's a really hard concept for a person to really wrap around. Like, to think of everything all the time simultaneously. Some people are like, well, yeah, of course he would change his mind. There's infinite possibilities. Well, no, but that's the point. He knows all of them.
Well, everyone who doesn't understand it should go, I don't know, do some drugs and then think about it and be like, oh, no, I get it. All right. On the third day from now, you will go up to the temple of the Lord. I will add 15 years to your life. Just 15, though. Kind of like Doc Brown in Back to the Future 2. I will deliver you and this city from the hand of the king of Assyria. I will defend this city for my sake and for the sake of my servants, David. David has been dead for hundreds of years. Let it go. I get that, like, God, when you lose someone close to you, like an ex, it's hard to get over them. But if anything, David's closer to you now because he's dead. So shouldn't you be like, oh, also David's here, he says hi, he's still a dick, he's fucking everyone's wives, but he can't kill them because this is heaven. So it's just getting real awkward up here. Everyone hates him, but he can't die. Then Isaiah said, prepare a poultice of figs. They did so and applied it to the boil and he recovered. So it was a skin disease.
Wait, he was gonna die of a boil? A single boil was gonna take him down?
You know, there's a lot of bad shit in the world today, but I'll tell you this, I'm never going to die of a boil. I'm going to get that shit lanced.
Also, all they had to do was prepare a poultice of figs.
Yeah.
It was just smashed up figs. Don't call shit a poultice. Okay? You're a douchebag if you call it a poultice. Go to your fucking homeopathy and go get your maize and fig poultice and rub it on your wounds, you dumbass. Go get a fucking Band-Aid and some antiseptic and survive. You don't need to buy fruit and rub it in your wound. That's fucking stupid. I'm glad you have dysentery, you dumb fuck.
Isaiah answered, this is the Lord's sign to you that the Lord will do what he has promised. Shall the shadow go forward 10 steps or shall it go back 10 steps? When they're talking about 10 steps, this is kind of culturally relevant. This is something that would make more sense. 10 steps is how they would measure a sundial. So they're saying, God, in order to prove to you that he's going to do what he's doing, he's going to make the sundial run backwards, which if you know anything about how sundials work, would mean God is literally somehow changing either the properties of shadows, which is difficult to do as it's a property of how light functions in a world with matter, or he's making the sun literally go backwards, at least.
No, he's making the Earth rotate backwards.
I guess he could be doing that, but it's just...
Well, if he's stopping the Earth and spinning it the other way, everyone's going to be obliterated.
Yeah, because the Earth can't just stop without everyone flying all over the place, because inertia is a property of matter. Thanks, Bill. It is a simple matter for the shadow to go forward 10 steps, said Hezekiah. Rather, have it go back 10 steps. Then the prophet Isaiah called on to the Lord, and the Lord made the shadow go back 10 steps. I understand that this would be impressive at the time, like, speaking as far as a miracle goes, and even physically property speaking, if someone today could somehow make a sundial run backward, that's still impressive and still violates laws of physics, but it just strikes me as interesting how blasé that I think this miracle is, that if I actually saw it, I'd be like, that's interesting, but I'm not impressed. I think more than anything, Michael Bay's probably the reason I'm an atheist, because I'm just not wowed by any of these miracles. I'm like, oh, that's cool, you fucking split a sea open? I've seen a car turn into a robot, and it fought another car that turned into a robot, and Shia Labeouf was there, and he wasn't terrible, which is the most important thing of this story. That's not true. I don't hate Shia Labeouf. You're all right, Shia. You're a weird fucking dude, but I respect you.
I would hang out with Shia so hard just to see where that experience took me. I know he is the one person that you could hang out. Charlie Sheen is included on this list, and he has AIDS now, so I'm not hanging out with him. But Shia is the other one. I think he's clean. I don't think he's gonna try to fuck me. Charlie Sheen might try to fuck me. You hang out with Shia Labeouf, nothing is ever the same ever again. Shia, if you see this, hit me up.
Yeah, check me out at my digits. My digits are 8675309.
Oh, I thought you were gonna give like an actual fake number, and some poor person's gonna get rung. That's actually still a number, isn't it? Or did they deactivate it?
8675309. That's a real number.
I know a lady had it for a while, but I think she sold it.
Yeah, that's not the kind of thing you actually want. Don't get me wrong. I'm assuming the hits of the 80s not as popular as they once were, but you're getting at least 10 calls a day. At least.
It's all Japanese people right after karaoke. Hey, yo?
Is Jenny there?
Is Jenny there? No, this is Rick.
For a good time, I call for good time.
That's not racist. That's how they talk.
That's how this specific one talks. I'm not saying Japanese people talk like this. This is how this person talks. He's Irish. He has a speech impediment. How dare you?
He's Irish. That's it. That's all. We're over. It's done.
Yeah. So next time we're going to finish up, almost certainly we're going to finish up Second Kings or whatever, because it's terrible. So,
it's done.
Thanks, everyone. You can always check us out on Twitter at Bible Reloaded.
You can follow Hugo at Hugo Reloaded. You could also subscribe if you haven't already. If you haven't yet, you're an enemy of us until you've done so.
You can always donate to our Patreon campaign. That's going pretty freaking well, so that's cool.
Yeah, thanks, guys. And for all our patrons that have donated already, our patron-only hangout is available on the 20th live. It will be at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That's 4 p.m. Mountain.
So thanks, everyone. Until next time, I'm Hugo.
And I am Jake.
And this has been the Bible Reloaded. That's the show we do.
Call me Shia.
Don't call him. Trust me.
I like holes.
Not worth it. I called him once, and here I am.